Well, hello! I'd like to welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the pens and inks that I've been using throughout the week. And if you've been following along this channel, you know why there are 3 pocket pens at the beginning of this list. So let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, what do you do when you travel with your pens? Let us know down in the comments. So let's take a look at the pens. So if you've been following this channel, you know that as I film this, it's much earlier in the week than you're seeing it. As you are watching this, I am either in Fargo or on a bus almost in Fargo. With 20 teenagers for State Science Olympiad. So that's why I have 3 pocket pens, because I'm not going to be walking around with a lot of pens all around Fargo, all around the campus and everything. So these guys will just slip into my pocket. So let's take a look at the pens that I have been using, because I've been using these just to kind of break myself in. Plus I decided I'm going to film a review of these 2 while I have them out, so then I can get 2 reviews in the batch and be ahead on that. So the first one is a Moonman Mini Wancai, which I think has an absolutely gorgeous finish. I had this inked up last summer. I haven't inked it up again, not because I didn't like it, but mainly because it takes a really long time to get through the ink in it. Then I have a Kaweco Liliput Fire Blue edition. I'll have some remarks on the Fire Blue part when I get to filming the review, but I think you know what they're going to be. I have a Kaweco Skyline Sport, which surprises me that it's inked up. For reasons, if you go back to my review, you'll see why. I have, not going with me to Fargo, but inked up just because I wanted to try out another yellow ink. I have a Platinum 3776 with a coarse nib. Yes, yellow will be a theme with the inks this week. I have a Parker 180 Flighter. You saw its first impression this week. Parker decided to embrace the fact that you can often reverse write, and they just made it intentional. So it's a extra fine and a medium, all combined in one nib. This is a PenBBS 456. Still inked up with the very first ink I put in it, because I can't seem to run it dry. I can tell holding it up to the light that it is finally starting to get there, but I'd say I have about a normal pen's fill left of ink inside of it. One of the drawbacks to a large ink capacity. I am considering it as a pen for school. A Pelikan 400NN. So a vintage pen from the 1950s. And finally, a Pilot Custom Heritage 92. And I've been told, although I don't know this, that the Custom Heritage is where they have the flattened ends, and that the Custom is where it's rounded ends. So those are the pens and ink, or those are the pens. Let's take a closer look at them. As always, I'll be doing my samples in a Bomo art journal. I was looking on the Bomo website. I can't decide if I'm able to get plain paper for this, but that is something I've been looking at, thanks in part to remarks on this channel. If I can't get it, then I'll just keep getting aligned. This is getting closer to full. This is where I do my reviews. My next one is going to have no lines. So let's take a look at these pens and inks. So the first pen I have inked up this week is a tiny little thing. This is a Moonman Mini Wancai. I bought this back before I started doing first impressions videos, so there's no link to a video for it. Let's see, what did I have in it? Something about series. It was one of the Colorverse inks. Moonlight on series, series light, something like that. Anyway, it was in it forever, and it was one of those colors that you're not using, a lot. So, yeah, I got super bored with this pen. Not that it's a bad pen, I just got bored with the same ink. Luckily, it didn't ever seem to dry out, so I'm counting on that again. Although with the Noodler's ink, there's always those extra quirks. Just give you an eyeball compared to a Platinum 3776. A little bit of a size difference. But one thing I like about it is it's a little thicker pen. Not too thick, but thicker. Next to the Kaweco Liliput, difference there. And it makes a very solid feel here when it screws on to post. The nib is just a plain ordinary iridium point Germany nib. Honestly, I think after I review it, I may look for like a number 5 Knox nib or something different than what's in it, because I'm not super excited by this nib. Not hating it, just not excited. So this is a Moonman Mini Wancai. I think it's a fine. In any case, the ink in it is Noodler's, which I bought a bottle of this years ago. Back when I thought this would be the solution to using Noodler's Black in the Pilot Custom 823, because that was just too viscous and wouldn't let the bubbles come up through. I thought this would be the solution. I found this was a little bit too feathery for my taste, so I haven't really used the bottle up. So it's a dropper bottle, so I thought, what the heck, let's throw it in here. And this nib is actually dry enough, I haven't noticed feathering. So maybe I've got a purpose for that ink yet. It'd be nice to get that bottle out of the collection, get it used up somehow, so maybe this is the way, very slowly. So that pen will be my black writer pen while I'm in Fargo. Why not the Lamy 2000? Because I just decided to bring pocket pens, that's why. And I'm not bringing my pen case. They're all just going to ride in my pants pocket. Pens pockets. Anyway, this is a Kaweco Liliput. This is the Fire Blue edition. I paid extra for it. I'll be honest, I was disappointed with the color. I know how Fire Blue is, and it seems to have faded a bit since I bought it. Neat idea. I have some Fire, what are they called? Nemosine re-entry nibs. Same thing, but the ink seems to eat away at that finish on them. So I don't know what the future of this is. I imagine there's a coating on it to preserve it. But like I saw, the Montegrappa has a Fortuna model that's also the Fire Blue. And I just think, for, what is it, $400? Some really scary amount of money. I just thought, what happens when the Fire Blue disappears? Then what? So that pen will not be entering my collection. So anyway, this is a Kaweco Liliput. This is a very slim pen. I know two ways about it. I was surprised last summer. I had mostly black ink in this one. This was a very good carry with me pen, even though it's metal and heavy. I didn't want to take it on hikes or anything, but I like it. It's a metal pen, metal grip. I shouldn't like anything about it, but I do surprisingly like this pen. And it's one of the pens that does a very good job with this ink, Diamine Ancient Copper. Because in the wrong pen, this ink can become super crustallicious. But this pen holds a very good seal, and so far, no crusting, which is going to come up again with another pen you'll be seeing in just a little bit. And it shrinks down to a small package for my pocket. Long ago, I did 2 videos because it was actually one of my very first revisits, which happened by accident, on this pen. This is a Kaweco Kaweco Skyline Sport, which basically means it's, a light-colored one. I had an entry in my community tab on YouTube about how I'm getting all this green out of it that I've never noticed before, and I'm getting it again. I mean, I really cleaned the heck out of it, but luckily it's not getting into the ink anymore. So this is a Kaweco. Now, yellow ink. I love the idea of yellow ink. I think it is so pretty. It's just really hard to read. I recently wrote a pen pal letter all in different shades of yellow ink to somebody who's, I don't know, I think he's in his 60s. And I was looking at the letter and I just thought, maybe not. Maybe I'll just recopy this one into some other color because, you know, it's yellow. This ink, I think, and I'll tell you why I think this, because it doesn't match the color of my original writing sample. So I'm wondering if I accidentally put Private Reserve Buttercup in it without thinking. But it's supposed to be Rohrer and Klingner Helianthus. Just a bright, happy, wonderful color. It's a little bit too pale for everyday writing. And a page of that is just kind of yipe. Now, this one has a yellow that I like. This is a Platinum 3776 with... I apologize, I'm drawing a blank on the name of this finish. It's one of their special editions. And I have a coarse nib in it. Coarse is sort of their equivalent to double broad, just like I just used a double broad Kaweco Liliput. Now, the last time you saw this particular ink, it had overly crusted my beloved Platinum President. In fact, I had a few viewers threaten to come and take that pen from me by force if I didn't get that crust off of the nib. It was a bit of a gamble putting it in this pen, but I thought, you know, with that slip and seal, maybe? And as you can see, no special effects, no cleaning, no tricks, and several days of being in the pen, no crust. This is Krishna Kanikonna. And it's a yellow color that is dark enough it almost feels usable. Then I get to this week's first impression, a Parker 180 Flighter. As several commenters noticed on that video, yes, this is kind of a slender pen. Kind of like a Parker 45. So this is the nib kind of looks like a weapon. Just like you could use it as a little stabby stab. So don't take this one through the airport, I guess. So Parker, what would somebody call it? A shiv? A shank? I'm trying to remember what their word for it was. It wasn't stabby stab. So this is a Parker Flighter 180. It's an extra fine medium nib. And the way you switch it up is you just roll it over. And you can write Iroshizuku. I don't care for the extra fine on this, but I typically don't like extra fines. They're just a little bit too fine. Tsuyu-kusa. Somebody did suggest to me that I should try a darker ink in it, so I will probably do that for its next fill. Also with the medium, because it doesn't have that black whatever it is, you get a little bit more bounce. But either way, it's a very interesting nib and pen. So I always do reverse writing in my regular reviews. This is a pen that embraced the concept of reverse writing and made it part of its identity. And we get to my PenBBS, which is still full from its very first fill ever. And I don't remember the date, but I've got the link to the video there. You You know, the trouble with these kinds of pens is they hold a lot of ink. I mean, that's good and it's bad. Because I've got a daily writer I like. I love my Lamy 2000. In the summer, I usually switch to my Pilot Custom 823 as my daily writer. So I keep refilling it with the same ink. It doesn't make as much sense with my fun pens. Luckily, he says as it fails, doggone it. Of course this happened just now. And I know there's ink in the darn thing. Okay, let's see if it'll write now. Okay, I was about to say it's keeping a very good seal, but I changed my mind. It's keeping an okay seal. This is a fine. It has a slightly upturned nib. Rather than a ball type nib. The ink in it is Sailor Jentle. Waka-uguisu, which I was corrected. That says something to do with some kind of a bird. I will be possibly doing an Instagram video, IGTV, where I compare this to the ball type nib. One thing I have been neglecting, something had to give, so IGTV gave. But I'm going to start batch filming those too, so I can get ahead on that and just, you know, be generally ahead on everything. I'm about 2 months ahead on my first impressions. I'm going to be 2 weeks ahead after tonight on my reviews. This show, of course, I can't get ahead because it's, what am I using this week? And IGTV, similarly, I'm going to try and get ahead on it. This is my, and after Science Olympiad is over this weekend, I will have time to do that and devote to my lawn and to devote to my housekeeping and devote to my classroom keeping and devote to my organization and a lot of the other things that have fallen apart the last few months. Which is why I've been on that whole, I'm going to work on my productivity and organization kick in the first place. So somebody asked, this is a gold nib. Let's see, there we go. 585 tells you it's gold. Don't know the size, but it's got a decent amount of flex. And that's something the Pelikan 400 NN was known for. Is known for. The ink in it is I had a comment this week from somebody who'd seen my video about my set and how I do these videos, and they remarked that being in the basement I don't get interrupted. Well, I turned everything off except I forgot the dehumidifier because I need that at this point. Alright, this is a Pilot Custom 92, which is a very good pen, a piston filler. Maybe not the most exciting, but definitely very reliable. And I say that hoping it would do what it just did. It seems to hate this ink. In fact, I left it inked with this ink. I was going to clean this ink out of it. The reason I put it in it originally is this was starting to get a little bit stained. I usually put Noodler's Matahari's Cordial in it. But you know, after seeing how I'd cleaned out that Kaweco that Kaweco Skyline Sport, I decided, you know, maybe I'll clean some gunk out using a light colored ink in this one. Only it turned out to be very cloggy. It'll usually clog after about a paragraph or so. So I feel like this is going to just get cleaned out, and I'm not going to bother finishing this fill. But then again, this is an ink that's, again, pretty useless, although very pretty. Oh, not a medium, this is a broad. The ink, of course, is Private Reserve. And see, it shows off well with this pen too. With the amazing shading, it just looks great. It's just so pale you can't read it. And like I said, in this pen, and I will say in the ink's defense, I don't usually have this clogging problem or whatever it is, but it just doesn't like this pen. So really, there's three components to the writing experience triangle. One of them is the paper you're using. One of them is the pen, by which I include the feed, the nib, and so on. And the other one is the ink. And all three, when they're aligned right, you've got a sublime writing experience. You get one of the components off, doesn't work. Now, doesn't mean it's a bad ink, except maybe for the color. It just means that it's not a good ink in this pen, and on any paper at all. So it's been enjoyable to discover that in a way, because this pen has never given me trouble. So I guess that's exciting. But I learned something, and I guess if there was extra coloring in it somehow, I got that cleaned out. Although this ink didn't start coming out as a murky green, so, or murky whatever Matahari's cordial would turn it. So who knows? So I'll try a different ink in it, and who knows, you'll probably see it in another week or two in pens in use. So, State Science Olympiad, and again, I upload these at 3 o'clock Mountain Time, which I think at this time of year is UTC -6. I will be, at the time this appears, I will probably be on the outskirts of Fargo with 20 teenagers, and pretty quick to getting them to the motel, getting them checked in, and then going to see the campus, and then got to supervise an evening activity, and I'm by myself, so yeah, don't expect me to reply to any comments anytime soon. I may later tonight, or funny thing about teenagers, they don't get up early in the morning, but I do. So I may have some morning time to reply to comments and such. So don't expect an immediate reaction to any of your comments. So I guess if you want to put something horrible, this is your chance to have it up there for the world to see. But anyway, that's my upcoming week. 8 to 12 inches of snow in the forecast for Fargo between Thursday and Friday, so yay. Because it's spring and because it's warmer, I have the feeling the roads won't be bad, at least the interstate that we mostly will travel. I feel like the parking lot at the motel will probably be slush, but I'm really hoping it's not canceled because, well, they can't. This is such a big event, they can't just reschedule it. So it's got to be on Saturday. So if you want to come see me, you can try and find me in the crowd at NDSU on Saturday. Good luck on that. But I'll be not really stuck in one place for very long. Although at some point I'll hide in the bookstore for a while because I just love books. And I just love walking through a college bookstore and looking at the array of textbooks, especially one that's that size. So yeah, that's what's coming up. I had a topic at the beginning of the video and I already forgot. Oh, pocket pens. So when you travel, I like to travel light. Everything I'm taking with me is all going to fit into a backpack. I will stuff my dirty clothes in a plastic bag and bury it at the bottom of the backpack. But yeah, everything is going to travel in a backpack. I'm not bringing along a pen case, or I'm bringing a notebook. Bringing my cell phone. It's going to replace the binder and a lot of the stuff I've historically brought with me. Because I put it all on Evernote. It's all organized and all virtual, and I can just do it right there on the cell phone. Even if I can't get a cell signal, at least it's stored on the cell phone. It can sync when it gets its chance. So I'm liking that very much. I feel much more organized, and I think in part that's to do with all the work I've been doing on organization for going into this. The kids, that's another story. So got to work on them for next year. But I'm much more organized than I've been in the past, and I didn't even have any help this year, which normally I have an assistant coach, but don't have one this year. So again, if you know somebody who would like to be a science teacher in southwestern North Dakota, call me. So, well, thank you for watching, and if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, when you travel, do you take a lot of pens? Or do you travel light, like I do? Let us know down in the comments down below. This actually is sounding like a possible future video. So I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.